They don't fear you because of what you've done. They fear you because of who sent you. There's something about your presence that makes the air shift, something in your eyes that unsettles those who live in darkness. You carry the energy of a realm this world cannot control, and even if they can't name it, they feel it. The ones aligned with light recognize it as peace, but the ones aligned with shadow feel it as threat. Because your soul is not ordinary, it was breathed into by divine command. You didn't come here by accident. You were sent. There's a reason people treat you differently without knowing why. A reason rooms fall silent when you walk in. A reason certain people avoid your gaze or suddenly turn cold after feeling your energy. It's because your spirit carries an echo of the one who sent you. They're not reacting to you. They're reacting to the authority that walks beside you. You carry a signature that darkness can't imitate. That's why the enemy knew your name before the world did. From the moment you were born, the spirit world recognized you. Heaven smiled and hell shuddered. You were not sent to blend in. You were sent as a reminder that God still places light in human form. That divine purpose still wears skin. That truth still walks among lies, and from the start the opposition marked you. You didn't provoke it. Your very existence did. But chosen one, listen carefully. The warfare you faced was never random. Every betrayal, every heartbreak, every season of isolation was an attack on the divine signature inside you. The enemy couldn't touch the one who sent you, so it tried to crush the vessel that carries him. The goal was never to destroy you physically, but to disconnect you spiritually, to make you question who you are and, more importantly, whose you are. You felt it, didn't you? That spiritual isolation, the moments where you cried out, "Why me?" The seasons where even those closest to you couldn't understand your heart. That wasn't punishment. It was divine protection. Heaven had to remove you from certain people because they could not stand next to what you carry. Not everyone can walk beside someone who carries divine fire. Some people sense your calling and confuse it with competition. Others see your light and mistake it for arrogance. But it was never about you. It was about who sent you. Even the unseen world has watched your journey. Every tear you shed was witnessed in heaven's courtroom. Every battle you thought you fought alone was recorded in the divine archives. And through it all, you were being refined. You were not losing, you were being strengthened. You were not abandoned, you were being hidden. Hidden until the appointed time. Because when you carry a message from the Most High, you can't be revealed prematurely. There were moments when you felt forgotten, when you looked at others rising while you remained unseen. But chosen one, your timing was never delayed. It was divinely orchestrated. The one who sent you was shaping your heart for purpose, teaching you to move in silence, to discern without reacting, to hold your peace while storms raged around you. Because your mission required maturity. Your authority had to be rooted in humility. And that's why the world fears you even now. They fear the calm you carry in chaos. They fear the confidence you hold without boasting. They fear the strength you don't have to announce. Because true power doesn't shout, it radiates. It moves subtly with certainty. It doesn't seek validation, it creates alignment. You've reached that point where the same energy that once intimidated you now bows before you. The same tests that once broke you now serve as proof of who sent you. Chosen one, hear me. There's a reason certain people turned on you when you were nothing but kind. There's a reason your light triggered jealousy you didn't earn. They saw something divine in you before you even saw it in yourself. Some people can sense when heaven has its hand on you, and it terrifies them, because they know deep down that no matter what they do, they cannot stop what God has ordained. You carry an energy that exposes hidden motives without a word. You bring conviction simply by existing. That's why some people suddenly distance themselves. That's why you've had to walk alone. But isolation wasn't rejection, it was consecration. Heaven was removing distractions so your spirit could be tuned to divine frequency. Because when you're sent, you can't afford confusion. You need clarity. And now something within you is awakening. You can feel it. The shift, the alignment, the silent confirmation in your spirit that this next chapter isn't about proving anything. It's about becoming what you were sent to be. The preparation was painful because the assignment is powerful. Every hidden season was heaven's way of forging endurance. Every unanswered prayer was building trust. Every delay was divine strategy. The world senses this shift too. They can't articulate it, but they feel it. They feel your spiritual power amplifying. They sense that the one who was once overlooked now carries invisible weight. The same ones who mocked your silence will one day echo your wisdom. Because when heaven backs you, no human can ignore you. Chosen one, this is your awakening moment. The unseen realms already recognize it. The authority on your life has multiplied. You are not just walking anymore. You are being carried by divine mandate, and that's what they fear most. Not your talent, not your intellect, not your confidence, but your connection, your source, your sender. So when the opposition rises again, stand firm. When jealousy surfaces, stay silent. When misunderstandings come, don't explain yourself, because the one who sent you is your defender. You were not placed here to fight for recognition. You were placed here to fulfill revelation. And soon every force that opposed you will see it for themselves. You were never meant to be understood. You were meant to be revealed. And revelation always comes with resistance. But you don't have to fear resistance, because heaven itself sent you into this world with a seal, a mark that darkness cannot erase. You are not here by chance. You are here on assignment. You are heaven's evidence that divine purpose still breathes among men. That is why they fear you, because when they look at you, they see something ancient, something eternal. They see the reflection of the one who sent you, and deep down every spirit recognizes its superior. And yours comes from above. They don't understand why your presence makes them uneasy, but their spirit does. The fear they feel isn't personal, it's spiritual. It's not you they're reacting to. It's the authority that walks with you. Every step you take carries the weight of divine backing. Every word you speak echoes with eternal frequency. The darkness doesn't just see a person when it looks at you. It sees a representative of the throne. You were sent, and that truth alone makes the unseen tremble. You've probably noticed how people's true colors reveal themselves around you. How masks start to slip when you enter their space. It's because your energy doesn't allow deceit to hide. You are sent to expose not with words but with presence. You bring spiritual light into every environment you walk into, and light demands that truth be seen. That's why people either love you deeply or resent you instantly. They're responding to what their spirit detects, not what their eyes see. Chosen one, this is why your path has been so lonely. Divine assignments come with divine isolation. Heaven doesn't send you into the crowd to become like them. It sets you apart to remind them what divine alignment looks like. You felt misunderstood not because you're wrong, but because you're different. You operate by a higher law. The same anointing that empowers you is the same energy that separates you. You weren't sent to blend in. You were sent to stand out. Even if standing out costs you everything. There were times you questioned why love turned into betrayal, why friends turned into strangers, why comfort turned into chaos. But you must understand, when heaven marks you, exposure becomes part of your protection. Some people were never meant to journey with you past the wilderness. They weren't strong enough to stand beside someone sent by divine order. Heaven revealed their hearts early, so your destiny wouldn't depend on their loyalty. And through that pain, heaven was still preparing you. Every attack, every disappointment, every season of silence, it was all divine training. You were being taught not to depend on validation. You were being molded to hear God's voice in solitude, to find peace without applause, because your mission requires clarity that cannot be swayed by the opinions of man. The one who sent you needed to ensure your focus would remain heavenly, even when the world misunderstood your purpose. There's something sacred about the way heaven hides its chosen. You weren't overlooked, you were covered. You weren't delayed, you were preserved. There's a timing to your unveiling, and heaven guards it fiercely. The enemy tried to destroy you before you understood your identity, because once you know who sent you, you become unstoppable. Once you recognize that your assignment is sealed by divine decree, no weapon formed against you can prosper, not because it won't be formed, but because it can't override the one who sent you. You are sent with authority, but also with humility. Heaven doesn't send warriors who crave attention. It sends those who understand restraint. Your silence has been your greatest weapon. You didn't clap back and heaven took note. You didn't retaliate and God remembered. Every time you stayed still when falsely accused, every time you forgave when deeply wronged, the heavens recorded it as victory. Because power without discipline becomes destruction, but power with submission becomes destiny. Chosen one, the world doesn't fear your strength, it fears your obedience. Darkness can imitate power, but it can't imitate purity. The purity of your heart terrifies what hides in the shadows. That's why people test you. why situations arise to provoke you. They're trying to see if you'll lose your divine alignment, but you won't. You've been through too much to go back now. You know what's at stake. You carry something too sacred to waste on petty battles. You've learned that not every confrontation deserves your response. Not every attack deserves your attention, because when heaven sends you, your silence becomes its strategy. God fights through your restraint. Heaven moves through your patience. You were trained to see beyond what's visible, to sense the unseen war and still remain still. That's the strength of the sent ones. You don't react to what people say. You respond to what heaven instructs. You've noticed the tests have grown quieter but deeper. The distractions are more subtle. The temptations are more emotional than physical. That's because you've graduated. The higher your calling, the more sophisticated the warfare. The devil doesn't waste time with what no longer works. He studies your patterns, searching for your weakness. But what he fails to understand is that your trials no longer break you, they build you. Every test you pass fortifies your authority. Every storm you survive increases your rank in the spirit. You are not who you were when this began. You are stronger, wiser, more dangerous to darkness than ever before. There's something the world hasn't seen yet, the fullness of your anointing. You've only been operating in fragments of what heaven deposited within you. But the next season will reveal the whole. The same people who doubted you will witness what divine backing truly looks like. They'll realize too late that what they dismissed was a vessel of heaven's presence. Because when heaven sends someone, it doesn't need validation. It simply manifests power, and power speaks for itself. Chosen one, the fear others feel toward you is a prophecy in disguise. It's proof that the spiritual world recognizes who you represent. Even before your purpose becomes visible, the unseen realm bows to the seal on your life. You were chosen to demonstrate what divine order looks like in human form. That's why your steps have been so carefully orchestrated. Nothing you've lost was wasted. Nothing you've endured was meaningless. Every season of delay was a seed for revelation. You've been sent to bring balance, to remind the world of what it forgot, that truth still conquers lies, that light still overcomes darkness, that God still chooses vessels to carry his message through flesh and blood. You are one of them. You are the bridge between heaven's will and earth's reality. And every force that fears you knows this. You didn't come by your own will. You were sent, and when heaven sends someone, no force in existence can stand in the way. You are entering a time where the one who sent you will begin to reveal why he chose you. The signs, the synchronicities, the sudden shifts, they are not random. They are confirmations. Heaven is positioning you. The world will soon see what the spirit world already knows, that your presence is not a coincidence, but a command, that your journey wasn't chance but prophecy, that your pain wasn't punishment but preparation. So stay grounded, stay obedient. The one who sent you is about to send for you, to elevate you, to reveal you, to establish you before the same world that once rejected you. But remember, this isn't for your glory, it's for his, because from the very beginning it was never about who you are. It was always about who sent you. Have you ever wondered why every attack you've faced only pushed you closer to your purpose? Why every betrayal refined you instead of breaking you? Because chosen ones are not built in comfort. They are forged in fire. Every scar you carry is not evidence of defeat, but the mark of divine craftsmanship. You were never meant to blend in with the world. You were meant to burn bright enough to expose what hides in the dark. That's why darkness feared your awakening, because your light was never ordinary. The truth is, your enemies never truly hated you for what you did. They hated you for who you are, for what you carry. You didn't need to speak to disturb their spirits. Your silence made them restless. Your peace irritated their demons. They could sense that something ancient and powerful was standing behind you, something they could not name, but could feel in their bones. And that something was divine protection. They thought you were alone, but they never saw the angels surrounding you. They thought they could destroy your name, but didn't realize your name was written in the heavens. Every time they plotted your fall, they unknowingly pushed you into position, a position of spiritual authority. Chosen one, do you know what the greatest paradox of your journey is? The very things meant to destroy you became your initiation. The very rejection that crushed your heart was the moment heaven whispered, "Now." They can't go where I'm taking you. They left you because they had to. They betrayed you because they couldn't stand your light. They misunderstood you because their frequency was too low to comprehend your depth, and yet you survived. You didn't just survive, you evolved. Every heartbreak upgraded your discernment. Every storm recalibrated your spirit. Every night of tears sharpened your intuition. You began to see beyond what eyes could see, to feel truth beneath lies, to hear God's whispers in chaos. That's not madness, that's mastery. That's what happens when the divine decides to activate you. The enemy thought the fire would consume you, but it only refined your anointing. You became the very thing darkness feared, a living reminder that light always wins. Now look around. You've changed dimensions. You no longer crave validation. You no longer chase what doesn't honor your spirit. You don't explain your silence anymore, because your silence now carries the weight of wisdom. People feel it before you even speak. They sense that something about you has shifted, something sacred. You've entered the realm where energy speaks louder than words. And that's why the world reacts to you so strongly. Because chosen ones are energetic mirrors, you reflect back to others what they refuse to see in themselves. Some will be inspired by it, others will be triggered by it. But either way, your presence exposes truth, and when truth walks into a room lies panic. That's why demons tremble when you arrive, because you don't fight them with fear, you dissolve them with light. You carry an authority that doesn't need to shout, a peace that confuses chaos, a faith that shakes the unseen. And the more you awaken, the more you'll notice the resistance intensify. That's not because you're failing, it's because you're ascending. Every level of spiritual power demands a new level of spiritual warfare, but you've already been trained in secret. The wilderness was your classroom. The pain was your initiation. The silence was your preparation. Now you walk with divine strategy. You don't respond to every attack, because you've learned that silence is the sharpest sword of the awakened. You don't chase closure, because your spirit already received confirmation. You don't beg for acceptance, because you were chosen before you were understood. The people who tried to bury you forgot that you were a seed, and when the storm came, instead of drowning, you grew roots. When the soil turned cold, you learned to bloom in the dark. And now, heaven is about to make public what was formed in private. The isolation was never punishment, and it was consecration. The loneliness was not rejection, it was redirection. You weren't losing your life. You were being transformed into it. Every demon that mocked you will soon have to witness your rise, because what they meant for evil, God turned into evolution. The betrayal became fuel. The heartbreak became prophecy. The silence became strategy. This is your awakening. The world will not understand it, because it's not meant to. You've entered a realm where words fail to define what you've become. You've outgrown the illusions, transcended the old timelines, and reclaimed your power. Chosen one, the time of hiding is over. You are stepping into divine visibility. You are walking in divine authority, and you are carrying divine peace that cannot be touched by chaos. The darkness that once hunted you now fears your glow. The people who once doubted you will watch you move with a strength that doesn't come from man. The same fire that once burned you is now your light. You've become what you were always meant to be, a divine weapon clothed in compassion, a force of heaven disguised in human form. And as you rise, remember this truth. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from victory. The war was already won the moment you refused to quit. The moment you chose healing over hate, silence over chaos, faith over fear, that you won. Because demons don't fear your power. They fear your alignment. They tremble when you remember who you are. So lift your head, straighten your crown, walk like the chosen one you are. The universe already knows your name. The unseen already recognizes your light. And every storm you've survived has written your authority in the spirit realm. You are not what happened to you. You are what rose from it. You are not the pain. You are the transformation born from it. You are not just chosen, you are proven. And from this moment on, nothing will ever be the same again, because now you know who you are. And that knowing is what the darkness feared all along.